I'm Matt Lampson. I've been playing professional soccer for 10 or 11 years now. It's been a long time. I don't even count the years anymore, but I'm now with the Columbus Crew. And it's been a long journey to get to where I am. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I am without going through cancer. So essentially, I'll go back to the start. I was a senior in high school, so 17 years old, which I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to, and just going about daily life, and just like everybody else, it throws you for a loop. I went to donate blood, just trying to do, actually, it was a selfish reason I went to donate blood. It wasn't necessarily to help other people. It was to get out of class. And they turned me away. They were like, no, you're anemic. You're not going to be able to donate blood. Being 17 years old and ignorant, I was like, oh, well, that's weird. You don't really think anything of it. I went home and told my parents, and they were like, oh, that's very weird. You're 6 foot, 17-year-old kid. You shouldn't be anemic. So we went to our regular general physician, put me on antibiotics. And at the same time, I had gigantic nodes, about golf ball size nodes on my neck. And 2 weeks later, no change after antibiotics. So we got it biopsied, and sure enough, I get the news. And there's nothing you can do to really prepare for it. As I'm sure everyone knows. But one of the things that I think back on that really made my experience successful was I never had any doubts that I was going to be cancer-free. My first question as soon as I was diagnosed was, okay, well, what do I have to do to beat it? And I think the positivity, the drive that I had to get back to normalcy, is what really impacted my ability to focus and get through the tough times of treatment and the long days and going to the hospital every day. And it's something that you never will be able to prepare for, but it's an invaluable experience that that I'm grateful for today. Every single aspect of that treatment, and all the minutia that you don't even think of day to day that impacts you in the long run is what makes you who you are. And so that would be my backstory. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4B. It had spread to my bone marrow and my lung tissue. I got 6 rounds of what they call BCOP, bleomycin, etoposide, andriamycin, cytoxin, oxyrubicin, prednisone, procarbazine. They actually don't even use that anymore. So most everybody's not getting it due to its toxicity. And then I got 12 rounds of radiation therapy as well. It was a tough time. It kicks the hell out of you, that's for sure. And it's leaving lasting side effects that I'm still feeling today. But overall, I'm pretty dang healthy, and I'm just grateful to be here, honestly. The transition between high school to college is an incredibly impactful time for everyone. Absolutely everyone. And it's probably the worst time to get cancer, because everybody that you've associated with is now moving on with their lives. You're stuck, probably not really going to college for the time being. And everybody else gets to just go ahead and continue on with their life as they plan. and you're over there just trying to survive. But with everything, you also have to find the positives in it. So I was an incredibly cynical person during the first, I'll say 3 years, during treatment, and in the first 2 or 3 years post-treatment. But with time, and this is what I'm here for, is to help people through the process. With time, I've realized that with every single horrible thing that I thought was just terrible at the time, you can take positives out of it. So when all of the people I considered close and my friends moved on with their lives and kind of just left me by the wayside, you do remember the ones that stuck by you. And so when you can realize who is really important to you, who's there for you no matter what. It may be family, it may be a friend that you didn't even realize was as important to you as they become. But those are the people that really love you. Those are the people that really care. So instead of focusing on, look at everybody that's leaving me behind, focus on the people that are there for you and realize how important and special those people are. And that's what I've done. And at least one of the people that was stuck by me is one of my best friends to this day, in addition to all my family. And so not only socially, but like with my soccer, I could dwell on how horrible it is. Like, oh, I can't play soccer anymore. I'm not going to be able to play soccer anymore. But instead, I used it as fuel to get to the end of my treatment as a goal for what I wanted to accomplish. So instead of, oh man, I'm never going to play soccer again, it was, I can't wait to play soccer again. And now when I am able to, I have a drive and I have experiences that other people couldn't even imagine that make me mentally, at least, on another level that other people won't be able to get to. Education wise, it actually, I won't say it's good to take a year off, but it helped me transition college life. So I may not have been taking classes in person, but I was able to take almost full course loads online, luckily through Columbus State where I was getting treated. And so when I actually did end up cancer-free and going to college, I'd already completed half a year's worth of prerequisites and things that I had already planned on taking in the first place. So regardless of, man, I can't go to college, it still gave me an opportunity to learn and get college credit. So that's actually something I was kind of grateful for. So when I go to college, I could actually take classes that I was interested in, as opposed to all the prerequisites that I got out of the way. And in terms of fertility, you don't think about it when you're 17 years old. That's for dang sure. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that my oncologist and my parents basically made me do it. But I've got, I think, 12 opportunities at kids based on my my sperm samples in the fertility clinic. And you've got to be grateful for it. And I have since been tested, and I'm infertile. Like, that's the bottom line with my chemotherapy. I'm infertile, but gratefully, even though I wasn't thinking about it at the time, gratefully I had it saved from right before we started treatment. But it's something to focus on and to actually take heart in, because it's not something that's important to you as a 17-year-old kid, but you're going to be thankful for yourself for making the decision to be able to at least decide whether you want to or not when you're 30 years old. So, and it's not something it's kind of a taboo topic that a lot of people shy away from, but it's a reality. So there's no reason to be anxious or shy about it. I mean, that's a reality. So other than that, I mean, these are types of experiences that from an AYA perspective are so dang unique. And it's what sets us apart. And it's what most people don't even realize. People don't realize the transition from high school to college, or going through college and having to stop, or going through high school and having to stop. And what that does to you in a social aspect. You're almost even, at least for me, you're almost even ostracized. It's like, oh, you're the cancer kid, or you're treated specially, which is the opposite of what you want. You want to be treated normal. Just treat me like a normal person. I get people all the time asking me, hey, I have a friend that just got diagnosed. How do I talk to them? And I'm like, you talk to them like you always do. That's all they want is normalcy. So, and I know that everybody, every AYA patient watching this is exactly nodding their head and saying, that's all I want. I don't want the special treatment. I don't want to be the cancer kid. And I completely agree, and I sympathize with you. And that social impact that you have to go through during that time is like nothing else that anybody else ever has to go through in terms of cancer. The adults have a completely different experience. The pediatrics have a completely different experience. You're in a very vital time in your life. But like I said earlier, it'll help you come to who you are as a person. And I always stress that your priorities and what is truly important to you get magnified at this time in your life. And when you go through something that is life-threatening, those things come to the forefront, and you mature at 17 years old that most people won't until they're 25, 26, 27. And it's something to be grateful for. You figure out what's truly important in your life. You figure out who is truly important in your life. Your priorities and values completely shift to what makes life important. And it's something to be grateful for when you're done with treatment. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I know I'll talk about my foundation a little bit later, but one of the things that I harp on is health and fitness during treatment and post-treatment, because of what I had to do to get to where I am today. There's no denying that you will feel impacts once you're done with chemotherapy and radiation treatment that will prevent you from being what you want to be for a long period of time. It took me probably 2 to 3 years to feel like I was at the top of my game again. I was back playing in about 6 months. But it took me time. And even then, 6 months, I wasn't, I had ballooned up to 270 pounds. And that was almost 100-pound weight gain from all the prednisone. And so I had to lose weight. And I did it through ways that made it feasible with what I had to, all my hindrances. So I was anemic. I had low blood count coming back from chemotherapy. So what can I do that I'm able to get fit while still having setbacks? And what I did was I did a lot of weight training because cardiovascular load for me with my lung problems just wasn't feasible. So did a lot of weight training, and I was watching what I was eating, and the weight just kind of shed away. But that's one thing that we have to be patient with coming back from chemotherapy, is have an understanding that it's not just going to happen like that, and recognize that we are different in that we're going to have setbacks and we're going to have limitations. whatever those may be, everybody will be different, but you have to understand you have your goal in mind and you have limitations. What can you do to get to where you want to go for you? I've talked to a lot of kids that with osteosarcomas that lose a limb. They have prosthetics now, and they're still able to. They're riding the bike every day. They're still doing things that get them to where they want to go. And okay, maybe I can't play professional soccer anymore, but guess what? I'm going to be on the dang Paralympic soccer team now. Like, they're still living their life in the best way that they can with their limitations in mind. And like for me, I have severe lung damage that I still experience it. And, if you asked me to go out and run a mile, I could do it, but it would take me a really long time. So cardiovascularly, I still have effects. Now, it affects the way I train, it affects the way I work out, and it affects my performance on the soccer field. Luckily, I'm a goalkeeper. Otherwise, I would seriously struggle. But keeping the focus on what your end goal is and recognizing that there still is a path. It may be a winding path. It may be a difficult path, and it may take a lot of patience. That's one thing. It takes a huge amount of patience, not only for yourself, but your process as well. But you will get there if you do not lose sight of it. So, I've met swimmers, I've met soccer players, volleyball players, baseball players. All of them have different paths, but they're going to get there, and they have gotten there. And so if you, there are different programs as well that will help you in your process and guide you and program you to get to where you want to go, specifically for cancer patients. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a huge resource to use. And other than that, I mean, it's just pure drive. It's drive and patience. And the experiences that you've had going through chemotherapy and as a young cancer patient should fuel you that you have a mental fortitude that most people couldn't even dream of at this point. So going through chemotherapy should be nothing. It should pale in comparison to going through, the sprints that you're doing that day or the swimming that you're doing that day. You should laugh at it and then and do your best, whatever you have to do to get to where you want to go. I did a lot of work with Leukemia Lymphoma Society, LLS, which a lot of people know, when I was at Ohio State, and I was playing at Ohio State, and that was my way of giving back. And then one of my close friends had a mother die of leukemia, and it kind of set a light bulb off in my head. I was like, it's not just about me. Like, this isn't just affecting me. This is affecting people that I'm close to. And I said, you know what? It would be a waste for me to have gone through the experiences that I've had and not use it with the platform that I have as a professional athlete, use it for good. It would be a complete waste of experiences that I had. So I started the Lampstrong Foundation in my second year as a professional. And one of the things that I really focused on was doing exactly what we're doing right now, having a dialogue with adolescent and adult cancer patients, because when I went through treatment, it didn't exist. I had nobody that could be candid with me and tell me, oh, well, guess what? Neupogen shots suck. Like, oh, well, yeah, when you get this type of chemotherapy, oh man, well, get ready for this. And things like that, just candidness and sympathy and empathy with the situations they're going through. And that's what I wanted to provide to other people. And it's since gone into donations for research, donations specific for AYA programs. We've given a big one to Lurie's for AYA. We've done another one for Minnesota at the University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. We did another one for CHLA, the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles. So those are the programs that we really support, because you guys do exactly what I harp on. It's the exact message that I try to imbue to everybody. So we love research, but mainly what we focus on is patient outreach and education, similar to what we talked about earlier, like fertility and nutrition, health and wellness, things like that we don't want to go by the wayside when people think of chemotherapy. You know, when you go and meet your oncologist for the first time, and they tell you what you're going to do. We want you to know that there's resources for your health and your mental health, your physical health, your diet, and everything like that you don't think of right away, because reasonably you're not concerned with that immediately. But Lampstrong Foundation is exactly that. We just want to support programs like AYA programs that you're involved with, and be there for people that need it most. I love just connecting with patients in person and being able to relate. And that's what I do best. But that's really what Lampstrong Foundation focuses on. The biggest thing that I always tell, and it's something that I hold incredibly dear to my heart, and actually gets me emotional when I say it because of how important it is to me, is when you beat cancer, and that's what you have to think. You have to know that you will beat cancer. It's not just enough for you to beat cancer. You've now earned a second chance at life. You've earned a second chance to make a difference in the world. So what are you going to do with that? You've survived, and now I want you to thrive. I want you to, if you're big into books, I want you to think about what you're going to write to impact the generation that's after you. It's not enough that we have beaten cancer. It's what are you going to do with your second chance at life that you've earned? Don't throw it away. Use every single second that you have. Appreciate the life that you have and make a difference with it. I get really passionate about it because when you're a cancer survivor, you're different. You're a special breed, and do not waste that experience and not make a difference with it. So that's what I would like to say to everybody going through the thick of it. Power through. I mean, everybody hears, they get all the cards, they get all the notes of, oh, you're going to do great, get well. I want to know what you're going to do when you're done with treatment, because you're going to be done with treatment and you're going to have a chance at life. And I want to know what you're going to do with it.